Hey, what is up there, guys? And here's Libertarian Dave.
He's out.
I'm with the Liberty. I'm the lobby. So he's gonna come in a bit. So
I got
Libertarian Dave.
I got lift his.
Here it comes.
Did you go live already?
Yep.
What you guys talking about?
Nothing. Starting off.
Press that red button.
Yep, that means you went live.
And then
That means you gotta talk to your audience.
which we did.
You did.
I said that I'm with the Liberty and I'm the lobby. Libertarians and Libertarian Dave's gonna come in a bit.
How y'all doing?
Good.
You guys sleep good?
Yeah.
Don't look like we got any viewers quite yet. So, but yeah. Anything you guys want to talk about?
Nope.
No? How's school?
Good.
Are you guys happy to be going to school, or would you rather be doing it on the computer?
Someone did a chat. Someone's did chat.
Nope.
No, it's
just broadcast / chatting.
So you guys happy to be going to school?
Yeah.
Yes.
You guys got lots of friends, huh?
Yes.
I'm gonna go to.
I need to put my sign up here then. Get people to be advertising for Joe still, man. All right, well, let me get started. Oh, anyways. Dark money. So I was researching, doing a little homework. Why would it? Oh, okay. Do a little homework on dark money because we have some issues here in El Paso. We had some advertising come out. I mean, mailers to everybody in El Paso. I haven't got the mailer yet, though. I haven't seen it. But apparently these mailers went out all over El Paso that basically said how good our leadership is doing and stuff. They're obviously political in what they're doing. So I'm going to share them with you. Ow, why can't I hear myself? Oh, okay, there we go. So that shouldn't be there. Why is that there? Oh, no. Oh, because I had to get a shareable link. That's right. Anyways. So I should have brought that up earlier. So let me go ahead and look this up for you real quick. I'm going to show you. I was going to do, you know what? While we're waiting for some people to come in, we got a couple people in. While we're waiting for some people to come in, I'm going to show a 1 minute, 27-second video of getting to know Jo Jorgensen. So your libertarian candidate for president. Since the mainstream media isn't going to tell you about her, let's, at least Libertarian Dave's going to let you know who she is. So let me give it a second here. I already got screen shared. So, and then while you're watching this, I'll be getting the dark money stuff ready. So you guys could check that out.
What kind of eye cream do you use?
Eye cream. I actually technically don't use eye cream.
What do you think of Trump's first term of office?
I think he's acting like every other professional politician. He made empty promises of getting the deficit smaller, and yet it's growing larger every year. And I'd like to point out that if an outsider, a supposed outsider like Trump, if he can't come in and make government smaller, then I've given up all hope of any Republican making government smaller. But of course, libertarians gave up back in 1971 when they formed the party, when they realized that Richard Nixon was not being a Republican. As somebody who loves old houses, loves old artwork, and loves history, it really breaks my heart that artwork is being destroyed. I realize that many of these statues are offensive, in which case we need to put them in a museum. And keep in mind, we need to be reminded of the problems of the past so we don't repeat them. But I would like to see them somehow preserved.
All right. Let me get rid of this. All right. So good time. Hey, what's up, Makeup Chaos? How's it going, man? Yeah, he was talking right next to the mic while the video was playing. It's just a little short video of what is who get to know Joe Jorgensen. That's what the video is called. So, I don't know. Didn't he just release one not too long ago? The COVID lawyer one. That was funny. It was people from my church saw that one. They said it was funny. Have you seen the COVID lawyer one? I can show that one real quick. So anyways, what I want to move this thing. Sorry, Saturday mornings are just weird, man. And it's like right back-to-back streams, really. So this is the, I don't know if I actually show the mailer in here or not. So this is what dark money is. This is the definition. In the United States politics, dark money refers to political spending by nonprofit organizations, by 504 or 501c4s, social welfare, 501c5 unions, 501c6 trade association groups that are not required to disclose their donors. Such organizations can really receive unlimited donations from corporations, individuals, and unions. In this way, their donors can spend funds to influence elections without voters knowing where the money came from. Dark money first entered politics with Buckley versus Vallejo in 1976, when the United States Supreme Court laid out 8 magic words that define the difference between electioneering and issue advocacy. So the problem with it is okay. So with I just learned this as a candidate. You have to file finance reports every so often. You have these certain gateways you go through. You have a window where you have to report. So like the first report is usually due before the end of the year, the end of the previous year prior to the election. So like the first report we needed to file, for the first thing you have to do is claim your campaign finance manager. So you have to put a name to it. If you don't have a campaign finance manager, then it's you, and you have to put your name on it. And that's the person responsible for your finances, right? So that's the first thing you have to do as a political candidate. Then the next thing you have to do, you have to file finance reports and a personal finance statement. So the personal finance statement basically shows all of the business connections that you have. I mean, everything. I had to report where my wife works, stuff like that. I mean, it gets detailed into what your connections are. So that's why when they bring up the stuff like in the debate with Trump and his China connections and stuff, all that stuff is reported before you can even run for president or run for any office. At least, the personal finance statement is for everybody. So and then like the first finance statement, and everything has to be reported. Any donors, and then you have to say whether you are donating as a corporation, if it's foreign money. All that stuff has to be reported to the Federal Election Commission if it's a federal seat that you're campaigning for, or if a state. If at least in Texas, I can't speak for the other states, but Texas, we have the Texas Ethics Commission that you have to report for if you're running for a state office. That's something brain is this morning. So the way that I got you practical, I'm getting there. Dark money is not legal. It is legal, actually. So sort of legal. It's not ethical. So let's put it that way. So what it is So we have to report as candidates, and anybody that donates to us has to report. I hate this big glaring light behind me, so let me fix that real quick. I don't like y'all to be getting blinded while I'm talking. So there we go. Sorry about that. So the thing is, so the way that you do this is considered what happened in El Paso. I'm going to share the screen with you, but I'm going to stay big, I think. So give me 1 second. I'm going to share the screen. So I'm going to show you the actual where the dark money went, and it's still going. So there's a advertising firm, that is put together this website. So it's called El Paso. Stay safe. Our future is right around the corner. It's called keepgoingstaystrong.com, right? So they put together this website, but it's not just website. There has been advertisements, and there's been, television commercials. There's been these mailers that went out to all of, I can't say exactly who, because I haven't got one of these mailers. So I can't say they didn't direct the mailers to registered voters, which would have definitely pointed it towards political, that it was political. So if it's political in nature, it has to be reported. So, but because this website, the marketing firm that is managing this website, which is, let me get you the okay, so they're calling it a marketing campaign, not political in nature. So, so the mailer says stuff like it says basically it's talking about how the incumbent leaders. This is an election year now, and it went out right when early voting started, right? Like a week ago, this mailer went out. So, in an election year, and it's talking about how the city leaders have been doing such a good job, creating jobs in El Paso, keeping people safe, and that El Paso leaders are making our city better. Keep supporting El Paso leaders are the headlines in this thing. So I can't bring it up. I can't bring the actual mailer up. So this, you could see here all of the stuff they're talking. Almost 40,000 residents in El Paso are public housing residents, and they have big impact in terms of energy consumption, waste production, stuff like. They're just talking about all of these political talking points in it. Adding 45,000 jobs, adding 300 new police officers. So it's pretty obvious that it's political in nature, but they're calling it a marketing campaign. So the public affairs firm, the Forma Group, is the public affairs firm that has put this together and put together the mailer and the television ads that are being shown. But they refuse. They won't reveal who their client is. Now the suspicion is because it's talking about our incumbent city council and mayor, the presumption is that it's probably Foster and Hunt. Those are the people who have the money, who could afford this kind of advertising and stuff, and have the most to gain from maintaining the status quo in our city council right now, because they are basically the puppet masters for where all of our money goes. They're a development firm, real estate developers, that have bought. They're the ones that I think it was Hunt that was the one who bought up a lot of the downtown property when they found out where the arena was going to be built in Duranguito neighborhood in downtown El Paso. So the city hired an outside agency, I think in Amarillo, to determine the best place to place this arena. So that agency picked Duranguito neighborhood. Well, that information somehow got back to Hunt real estate developers. And so they went and bought up all of this property. They started buying this property for more than it was worth, downtown El Paso. So like your house is worth 100 grand, they come in and be like, I'll give you 150 grand for it. So they started buying up these properties in Duranguito neighborhood. And then so the city comes out like 6 months later or whatever, a certain amount of time later, and they're like, we're going to use eminent domain, and we're going to give them 3 times the value or 5 times the value of the property to buy it, because that's fair, right? Well, they're buying it from Hunt, the developer who is also building the arena. So, I mean, it's just craziness. So, and this is all out there. I mean, it's all, I mean, you can read it, you can read up on it. So they can't, I mean, so they don't want to identify themselves, but they want to try to keep their people. So this is like genius, right? So they can dump all this money into this campaign to try to reelect the people who are basically filling their pockets with our tax dollars, non-negotiable. I mean, this is just the people who our city council determines. Oh, we got a video here.
Let's keep going.
There we go. Let's listen to this.
Our leaders are working for our future. Looking to bring our families more places to go, major events, and entertainment. Making El Paso a destination city to attract new jobs. Best of all, our future is right around the corner. Just keep going and stay strong.
So look at this beginning part.
So let's keep going and stay strong. Our leaders are working for.
Boom. Our leaders are working hard. If that's not obviously political, I don't know what is. So dark money is the money that goes to fund these campaigns and stuff, or it can come from other sources that doesn't necessarily go. So it goes to people who are not accountable. So let's say pharmaceutical companies, this is what happens. Pharmaceutical companies, they want to, get, Trump reelected, right? So they can run their own ad campaigns that don't mention Trump, don't mention anything else, but could advertise in order to try to keep Trump in office. They can do other types of things and funnel money into different places. PACs have a little bit more, but they still have to report. So like a PAC that supports a candidate still has to report that they're a PAC. So, or a union. So a union supports a candidate. If they donate money to that candidate directly, then they have to report. So it's not legal if it's political. That's why it's dark money. If it's obvious, if it is political in nature, or if it supports a candidate directly, supports a candidate, or names a candidate, then it's not legal. Now, this doesn't exactly name a candidate. It just says our leaders are working hard. Now, numerous candidates came out against this, saying that this is obviously dark money because if it's not crooked, then why don't you claim it? Whoever's paying for it, why don't they say who it is? If it's just about advertising about how good our city is going and how it's going in the right direction, then why don't you put your name on it? Why all the secrecy and stuff? That same media firm has handled other people's stuff before too, other campaigns and advertising as well. So this city spokesperson says that the campaign is not connected to the city, and the Borderplex Alliance, the El Paso Regional Economic Development Organization, is not involved with it. Of course not. It's paid for by private citizens, probably real estate developers that are interested in keeping their puppets on city council spending our money by the billions. Hand over fist, man. I mean, they're just trying to keep their, this is crazy, man. So they had this Zoom meeting. I was actually on the Zoom meeting. all these candidates, and including a couple of the incumbents, were on the meeting as well. But of course, the mayor wasn't there. And the obvious ones that are probably linked, which would be Henry Rivera, Mayor DeMargo, and there's one other one. Oh, Sam Morgan, which is my city council representative. And there's a couple of those. There's 2 out of the 6. 2 of the 6, or city council members were on there, and then all the mayor candidates. Oscar Leeser wasn't on there, but he came out later in support of the statement about ending the dark money. So this is the statement that was released by. I do have it right. Nope. I had it. Oh, it's over here. Got it. So this is the statement that was released by these candidates. We candidates for city office unequivocally denounce dark money funded advertisements released at this time. A very expensive advertisement campaign is underway. I can move this over here so you guys can see it with me. Is underway. Zoom in a little bit. Ooh, too much. Is underway and with no doubt is political in nature. The campaign is being mailed to likely voters and is appearing during intermissions on local TV news broadcasts. It has no disclosure and no author. Its messaging implicitly supports incumbents running for city office. This practice does not belong in our democracy and is not a welcome effort. We call on those who are funding this to step forward and own your words. We all denounce the use of dark money to influence our elections. The public deserves to know who is behind this propaganda. So I was in this press conference. All these people did attend. It was actually put together by Aaron Montes, who is District 7, running for District 7. He's right here. Joe Molinar, a couple of mayor candidates. Joe Molinar is running for District 4. Wesley Lawrence is running for District 4. I think Dorothy Bird, Veronica Carbajal, Carlos Galinar, and Oscar Leeser are all running for mayor. And I'm not sure about Cassandra Hernandez and Alexandra Anello are city council members. They're sitting city council members. So, that's probably the best way to get your name off of this thing, is to actually show up and denounce it. But the rest of the city council has not denounced it. So, sorry, let me go back and get into chat here real quick. How is that legal? Is there any way we can put pressure on politicians to outlaw this stuff? Or is there any legit reason you could think of that would justify those dark money laws? So my problem is, I don't have a problem with where you're spending your money. I don't have a problem with that. My problem is with when it comes to politics so politicians and elected officials serve the people. Their purpose is to serve us. So there should be absolute total transparency, unless it's national security, which city doesn't have anything to do with national security. If there was some kind of border thing going on in El Paso, I can understand a little secrecy on that. But especially when it comes to finances, should be no secrecy whatsoever. And when it comes to our election laws, who's paying for our politicians' candidacies and campaigns and stuff? We need to know that. We need to know who is connected with these people. That's why we have those kind of finance reports and stuff like that we do. So this is just a loophole that they're exploiting in order to try to get these people reelected. Now, as soon as they mention our leaders are working hard, boom, that right there tells you that it is political in nature, because our leaders work hard for us, for the people. Their purpose is to serve the people. So therefore we should have transparency. You know what I mean? To me, it doesn't matter what you spend your money on. As a libertarian, you should be able to spend your money on whatever you want. But when it comes to our policies, our politics, we need transparency because it holds people accountable. And we, the people, need to be able, and we need to have knowledge in order to hold our elected officials accountable for what they do. You know what I mean? Like Like, for instance, I'm pro-life. So, if a candidate is being funded by Planned Parenthood, I need to know that, because I'm not going to vote for that candidate because I don't want that on my conscience. You know what I mean? That's not something I'm going to vote for. So I need to know if Planned Parenthood is funding a candidate for office. I need to know that. I need to be able to look at their finance report and see that and choose to vote. But this right here, since they're claiming it as marketing and not as campaign advertising, that's how they're getting away with it. It's just basically they found a loophole. Dark money is not legal. So that's what we need to do, is we need to connect this and say that it is dark money. So dark money is when you can't trace the money, like this one. We can't trace the money where it comes from. Now, you don't need to say who you are if you're advertising for anything. You know what I mean? You don't have to claim who you are. But if it's political in nature, you have to claim it. So that's the law right now. People think they are sick. On yesterday, I had a reported church and 2 ministers got arrested. They had a service, but it was not really a service, just cover up. They were barbecuing and drinking, running games for kids. Now people trying to use churches. Cops arrested 2 ministers. I don't know what you're saying, Kid Play. Hey, what's going on, Layla? How's it going? Sorry, I'm just catching up on chat. Apologize. Hey, oh yeah. Thank you so much. My kids actually went live this morning, so I was just teasing them. I was like, "Why don't you hit the go live button and just start talking?" And yeah, so I missed my whole intro. I was gonna thank everybody for 600 subs. Just went over 600. I'm at 600 and something now. So appreciate all the love and support. You guys are keeping me motivated to keep doing this. Keep trying to bring some good content to you. Try to educate. That's really my whole purpose, is just try to educate people. So yep, 600 subs. Appreciate that, Layla. Kid don't care. I tried talking to kid politely and was accused of calling kid names, etc. Don't bother with kid. They are beyond debate. Kid, wish the best for you, man, and hope you find a life worth living instead of being so concerned about everyone else's. It's not enough. I'm going out of Patron. Hey, you shouldn't have to spend your gas and out. You don't. You could stay. Why are you out spreading the virus, man? Driving around town spreading the virus. You need to stay home. That's what the mayor says. The mayors are saying that, non-essential travel. We got cops and stuff. We got law enforcement that takes care of our laws. We don't need you out there wasting your gas and spreading your coronavirus all over the place. Stay home. Layla, are you police or something? Exactly. I'm sorry. I should just shut up and let y'all just deal with it, right? Responsibility. Man, you're just perfect Gestapo, man. Perfect little citizen of the state. How cute. How cute. The sheeple. I have a name. It's called the sheeple. You know what? Everybody today, this Saturday, everybody get in your cars and go drive around town and spread your coronavirus to everybody while you're patrolling to see who's spreading coronavirus to everybody. That's what we need to do. Everybody, get in your cars, go drive around. Make sure you go into them churches. If you're going to go, that's definitely what you need to do. You need to go into all these churches, because maybe you'll get Jesus. Then you won't have to worry about it no more. A group who feeds the homeless got arrested for it. Yep. I mean, look at what churches do. Ain't stopped my church though. Ain't nothing gonna stop my church. Ain't gonna happen. So, anyways, that's the dark money thing, and it's huge here in El Paso, man. I mean, it's a big deal. This whole campaign right here is just nuts. Hopefully it gets taken care of, because that is not good stuff. Hey, thanks, Chris. Appreciate it. I don't have Corona either, so why can't I go to a bar? So next up on the agenda is this long-awaited for. I can't record this thing. Can I? I wish I could. Can you record from here? I wonder if Drama made a new account and named it Kid Play 360. I wonder. I'm kind of suspicious because it sounds an awful lot like Drama. Drama alerts. Hey, Kid Play, you want to come on a 24-hour stream and give your pro lockdown argument? What city are you in, Kid Play? I'm guessing you're voting for Biden. Isn't that crazy how you could tell by people's stance on coronavirus who they are? Like, you can tell, oh yeah, you're a Democrat. Oh yeah, you're a Republican. Just by their stance on oh, okay, look, Drama's there. Hey, what's up, Drama? You coming on our 24-hour stream, Drama? You could come on. We need to schedule you in, man, if you're gonna come on. So isn't it funny how you can tell what somebody's stance is? Whether they're Democrat or Republican based off of how they feel about a freaking virus. That's so stupid, man. Our country is just goofy. It's just goofy, man. Like how easily manipulated our population is to be divided. It's like our politicians are partisan, right? I mean, they're partisan means party politics. So our politicians are partisan. So they're going to go with their party. 90% of the time, it's going to be partisan. So, when they say bipartisan, that's two parties. And when they say nonpartisan, that's no parties. So everything is partisan. So that happens at the political level, and you kind of understand that. But how the heck does how does that partisan stuff end up trickling down to the population? And now the population gets divided on partisan lines. It's crazy. Why do we identify so much with a stinking political party or a political philosophy? You can't tell me when the Democrats or the Republicans come out with some of the stupid crap that they come out with that you're not for a second just thinking, that's pretty retarded. I don't think I should be going for that. But it's my party, so I got to go for it, right? I got to get behind it. Come on, man. Libertarians come out with some crazy nonsense. I'm going to be like, yep, I'm not going for that. And that's probably one of the things that holds us back as a party. But, we stand on principle. So, that's just how it is. We're going to be principled. That's the libertarians are called the party of principle. So it's just crazy, man. It's just straight party lines. People are dying. Yeah, people are dying all the time, every day from all kinds of stuff. Guess what? It happens to us all. I hate to break this to you. Prepare yourself, people. You need to prepare yourself. Sit down. If you're standing up, I'm going to break some news to you, okay? Breaking some news to you. Are y'all ready? Are you ready? Everybody dies. I know y'all didn't know that, didn't realize it, maybe didn't sink in. But I'm sorry that it had to be me that let y'all know that everybody dies. All of us, me, you, everybody. We're all going to die. Except Elijah, right? And isn't he still walking? Or Cain? I don't know. But anyways, yeah, so there's that. There's that piece. And then, but not everybody can be successful in life. Everybody's going to die. That's inevitable. But not everybody's going to be successful in life. And once you've struggled and you've worked hard, you put blood, sweat, and tears into something, it's kind of a shame when you reach that level of success, just have the government come through and shut it down. It's kind of sad. Just to prevent the inevitable. Now, I understand that we all need to protect ourselves and we need to be safe. We don't want to die. I mean, not yet. Suppose eventually, but yeah. But, it's interesting, though. It's interesting that, like 94% of everybody that's dying from this is either elderly, which, they're pretty close to the end there anyways, I don't mean to sound heartless or anything. I feel for grandma and grandpa and stuff. You can have compassion and still be intellectual and still be logical about things. And the reason why the numbers are so high in the United States, because we are just massively unhealthy. So, I mean, it's the pre-existing conditions, the other things, type 2 diabetes, rampant, obesity, rampant. It's like almost 50% of our population is obese now in the United States. And that is a significant, 3 times more likely to have severe symptoms from coronavirus if you're obese. 3 times more likely. 3 times more severe symptoms if you're obese. So if you overweight, and it isn't like you don't know that that's not healthy to be carrying that much weight or have type 2 diabetes, but shoveling carbs down your throat and, eating junk food all the time. It's not like you don't know that that's unhealthy. You do. But then now you want to blame everything on a virus when people like me or like Evolve or, could get the virus, and probably never even go to the hospital for it. Just stay home, deal with the fever and the cough, and a few days or a week later, get up and go about your business. Got your antibodies now, ready to go, ready to block other people from getting the virus. It's kind of stupid. These people that have got the virus and got over it, now they're walking around with a mask. What are you doing that for? You should be sucking up all that corona that you can. You got the antibodies. Suck it up so somebody else don't get it. You put that mask on, the corona is going to get on the mask and it could get somewhere else. But if you breathe it in, it's going to get in your body and your antibodies are going to kill it. So, I'm saying if you already have the coronavirus. So, just saying, it's just government gets involved in crap and it becomes political, which it has. It's 100% political and makes it worse. So, sorry. Anyways, thanks, Kid Play, for bringing up your pro-lockdown thing again. It's kind of getting old, though, so might have to start ignoring that one. Most snitches get paid. Dave shouldn't have said what? What did I say? Go and talk. You go talk to your neighbors. I'm just saying, when I'm talking about dark money, I'm talking about something political. I'm getting, we've already been through this whole topic with Kid Play. And so when he comes onto my channel and starts going off topic, that's a troll. So I'm just bulking him in with the other troll who likes to come on here and go off topic and move the conversation in a direction and takes the audience with them, you know, which I don't like, because I like to keep my audience. I put something in my title and description for a reason, because that's what I want to talk about, and that's what I would like to talk about, not something that we've already talked about, you know, 2 weeks ago. So that's why. I mean, you know, I'm just bulking them in, just another troll. So it's okay, because you know what we do with trolls? You don't feed the trolls, people. Don't feed the trolls, because if you feed the trolls, they keep coming back. So I'm going to tell you right now, practical practitioner, Chris, Layla, just ignore. Because if you don't, you're feeding the trolls. So don't feed the trolls. Anyways, so I'm going to start on my campaign picks. Hopefully some people from El Paso are in here, because, or Texas at least. So my picks are, I'm living El Paso, Texas, District 4. The Northeast El Paso, that's where I live. And so that mine are going to be, if you would like me to look at some candidates, Marino for El Paso at gmail.com. You could post in the comments on this video also. Hey, look at, I live, don't post your whole address, but I live in whatever district, or I have this list of candidates from West Virginia or Michigan or wherever you're at. This is the list of candidates. Can you tell me which one is the most libertarian? I'll be happy. I would love to go through those candidates for you and tell you what candidate is best for, you know, for liberty. Because, I mean, we don't have candidates running in every single seat. Republicans and Democrats don't have candidates running in every single election across the country. There's just thousands of them. But we have a significant portion that are libertarian. So obviously, if there's a libertarian running on your ticket, I encourage you to vote for that person. A lot of times, voting third party. I really wish they would have the NOTA option, the none of the above option, because I think that's significant to you know, for those people who are just, there's not a good candidate, especially these uncontested races, right? You got like one person running. Wouldn't it be cool if you didn't like that candidate? Like if it was for like municipal court or something, maybe that judge did something that was unfair to you and you don't like them, and you could go and vote no to that one candidate that's running uncontested race. You know, I think it would be interesting. What is your job? What is your job, may I ask? I'm retired. I'm retired. Retired Army, 25 years service. Cheers, combat veteran. I also worked at a local high school for a couple of years as a military liaison, which was a really fun job. Really enjoyed it. But yeah, retired now. Stay-at-home dad. Take care of my kids. Spread the message of liberty. Political activist, county chair for the Libertarian Party in El Paso. So, but yeah, let me know if you have some candidates you would like me to look at. So I'm going to start off right from the top with Mayor of El Paso. We have 6 candidates for mayor, including the incumbent D. Margo. I'll tell you right now, I would not vote for D. Margo because he is for spending millions of dollars of taxpayer money, increasing our certificates of obligation, which is city debt. That's not taxpayer approved. So it's borrowing money that the taxpayers have to pay later without taxpayer approval. So you didn't collect enough money from your $100 million bonds that you got approved through deceptive means, and now you're going to incur certificates of obligation, which are only supposed to be allowed in emergency situations. You know, you can incur certificate of obligations in an emergency, but you know, so D. Margo signed off on all these certificates of obligation, increased all this debt, massive spending, just approves all spending. You know what I mean? And that we don't need that in El Paso. We have the lowest median income. We already have the highest taxes in the state of Texas. So we don't need that. We don't need it. What we need is the people of El Paso. We already have the lowest median income. Let's let those people keep more of that income. You know, so these are the people that are off the list for me because of spending, and that's Carlos Galinar. He's the Democrat. He's just spend everything, you know, spending. He sent out an advertisement that said $15 an hour minimum wage, that everybody deserves a living wage. That right there, nope, high school student does not need a living wage. A elderly person that is probably collecting Social Security and just wants a job in order to get out and socialize with people and quality of life, not really in it for the money, doesn't need a living wage. You know, and that's 90+% of the people that collect minimum wage right now are students and the elderly that are just working for quality of life, as you know, for mental quality of life, not for financial quality of life. So that's who collects minimum wage. So it's like 6% of people collecting minimum wage are head of household breadwinners in their respective families. So I mean, absolutely not. $15 an hour would just kill massive amount of jobs. It would destroy nonprofits like Community Evolve, which, you know, our buddy the Evolve is the CEO of. It would just destroy that. I don't know if he could survive. You know, quality nonprofits that help kids and help our community would just be devastated by it. So, yeah. So $15 out. Carlos Galinar out. Dino. I think Dean Martinez was the. I wrote. Where's my paper at? Here we go. So Dean Martinez, he said he wants to send police to Ranger School. And he was for the arena. So this arena project is not something that El Paso needs. If the arena was going to be profitable in El Paso, then a private company would have paid for it. We don't need taxpayer money paying for this construction, this crooked, backwards, eminent domain that they use to do it. Everything about this arena just stinks of political corruption. So he's for the arena. I'm not for him. That just tells me that you're for political corruption. Also, Carlos Galinar was also endorsed by Beto O'Rourke. Beto, take your guns, O'Rourke. Yeah, anybody who's in a picture with Beto, not getting my vote. Pretty obviously how. And then Calvin Zielsdorf. He's pretty good at talking about, he's good on transparency, you know, about government transparency, stuff like that. Tax breaks, talks about tax breaks, incentives and stuff, match investments, stuff like that, you know, but then it wants to use recycled rubber for the roads, like wants to repave all of El Paso with recycled rubber. So I'm like, how are you going to pay for that? You're going to give everybody tax breaks. That means you're going to reduce your revenue. So where are you going to get the money to pay for this stuff? You know, that's what always gets me. Micro districts and green infrastructure subsidies, stuff like that. You know, anytime somebody puts their, and this will go right into Veronica Carvajal, which I've met Veronica and I really like her. She's definitely anti-arena. She was on the legal staff that took the arena project to court. Actually, the arena project took her to court, took them to court. So she, you know, I was really going between her and Oscar Leeser. So Oscar Leeser is a businessman here in El Paso. He owns some Hyundai dealerships. He's been mayor before. He's and Veronica is a lawyer. She's definitely anti-arena. Her big thing, though, the big thing that bothers me is when people talk about funding stuff and free stuff. There's no such thing as a free lunch. Nothing is free. Funding has to come from somewhere. And politicians and government do not create wealth. That funding has to come from taking first. So you have to take money from somebody else through theft, taxation, whatever you want to call it. That's where your money has to come from. So anytime they talk about funding or investing in something, that is all taking money from you probably to fund it. So which is okay if you agree with that or plan on using that system, or, you know, that's something you believe in. but it should be a choice. It shouldn't be forced upon you. Because why should it be forced upon people who don't believe in it? It's the old argument for Planned Parenthood. You know what I mean? Why are you taking money to fund something that I morally object to? So Veronica, great person. She stood up against this dark money deal. She was on there too. So was Carlos Galinar and Dino Martinez. But she wants to fund affordable health care, free accessibility to Wi-Fi, like Wi-Fi for the entire city. That stuff has to be paid for. And at this point in El Paso, I think if we were prosperous in El Paso, if we had a booming economy that was, where we didn't have this massive tax burden on everybody and the lowest median income, if we were like Beverly Hills or something, or, some really high end city or something, great. We could do Wi-Fi for everybody, but we're just not there. El Paso was the poorest city in Texas. You're going to take more of our money to give everybody Wi-Fi? Come on, man. You can't do that. And thinks that the restrictions for COVID-19, the lockdowns and mask mandates and stuff didn't come soon enough. Those things came out in March. That was like, the mayor locked us down in March. I think it was not only soon enough, but it was completely useless in the process. So wants to shut down non-compliant businesses, free public transportation, unionized workforces. Those are all things that are not liberty related. So Oscar Leeser has shown he's for transparency. He's anti-arena. He's anti-spending. He's definitely the most fiscally conservative. And I'm sorry, but economics here in El Paso is the biggest issue when it comes to mayor and city council. We need somebody that's going to put a stop to this reckless spending in El Paso. So that is the biggest thing. And you need to look at that for your local your local candidates. What is the most important thing for your city? For El Paso, it's economics. For your city, it might be criminal justice reform. It might be something else, crime or something like that. But for El Paso, it's the economy. I mean, we're one of the safest cities in the country. El Paso PD is great. And I was thinking about this in relation to that. Our El Paso PD actually moonlights. So you can hire the El Paso PD to come work for your party. Matter of fact, if you have a group gathering of more than a certain amount of people and they're serving alcohol, you have to hire a police officer to work that thing, which I don't necessarily agree with because, forcing people to do stuff. I'm not all about force, but because our police officers moonlight in the community, like we have one at our church every Sunday, we have a police officer and we get to know the cops, you know what I mean? We get to know them. We get to communicate with them. So we build a rapport with our police officers and it makes us feel good about them. Like we feel like, we're friends with our police, like back when the cops used to walk the beat and stuff. I think that was a huge thing for building community, bonding with the community, the police bonding with the community. Not only does it lower crime because, hey, you don't want to, come on, man, you don't want to do that. You got Officer Smith over here, he's a good guy, don't make him have to come over here and deal with you, so lowers crime and stuff. And it gives us a better sense of, you can trust your police and stuff. So that's the thing. So Oscar Leeser, if you're out there, you're getting my vote, man. I looked at your record, pretty pro-liberty, few things I don't necessarily agree with, but there always is going to be a few things you don't necessarily agree with anybody. So I got to say, for a fiscal conservative, definitely economic things, pro-transparency, anti-arena, going to hopefully veto some of this spending that keeps coming up in our city council. And that's definitely what we need more than anything else. A lot of the other stuff can be handled at state level and hopefully will. And we can move on. So Oscar Leeser is getting my vote for mayor. I know that was a big one though. That's why it took me so long to go through those, because it was a big one. Next up, I'm gonna go for my city council pick for District 4. This is another one that doesn't have a libertarian running. We actually had somebody, but they made a mistake. Why do you guys keep feeding the trolls, man? I mean, if y'all are enjoying it, then I guess go ahead. So, City Rep District 4, we have Dorothy Sissy Bird, who is a Democrat. We have Sam Morgan, who is the incumbent spender. Joe Molinar, who is a retired Marine, retired police officer. Sean Nixon, who's just barely out of high school. Wesley Lawrence, who's another young kid, early 20s, I think. Been endorsed by a bunch of people. But I'm going to tell you, Sam Morgan, our incumbent, he's agreed on every spending bill. He's pro-arena. He's bragging about a $21 million deal up on Angora Loop, which is kind of out in the middle of nowhere. My mother-in-law lives out there, but it's doing some kind of a project out there, I guess. I have no idea. I don't know why our city government keeps wanting to spend money on economic. You should be spending money on getting our city straight and then giving the money. Quit taking our money and thinking you know what's best to do with it. Come on, man. You want to boost the economy in this city? Let us keep more of our money. You're wanting to spend all this money to try to attract more residents to this city just so you can collect more taxes from them. Guess what? The tax burden is the reason why people aren't moving here. Paying the second highest taxes in the entire country. And you're wondering why people don't want to move here? Well, that's why. Quit taking our money. But anyways. Sean Nixon got arrested for bouncing checks to pay for a cleaning service to clean his campaign headquarters. So yeah, that's definitely not going to happen. Dorothy Bird, basically going to be a Democrat puppet. So politics, you slap on a nonpartisan race. If you slap a party, nonpartisan means you don't have to claim a party to run. But if you put a party on there, that means you're trying to use that to win. You're not going to get my vote that way. You're going to have to stand on some principles. Wesley Lawrence, sorry to say, I mean, he sounds really good. It's like he's trying to please everybody. You know what I mean? Like his platform, oh, that looks good. That looks good. That looks good. That looks good. He got endorsements from all these people and stuff. Like he's made his rounds, a couple of, like, the teachers union has endorsed him. That's just not something I'm good with. The teachers union, too much control, too much power. That's not an elected official. Controlling how our kids get educated or who educates our kids. No. Making sure that bad teachers don't get fired, stuff like that. Same thing with the police unions, making sure bad cops don't get fired. That's what the teachers union, they make sure that bad teachers don't get fired. So no, my taxpayer money goes to fund it. I don't want no union controlling it, period. So Wesley Lawrence, endorsed by the teachers union, probably thinks it's a good thing and not a good thing for liberty. So, and then he's too young. I mean, the main reason I wouldn't vote for Wesley Lawrence, the kid, is a young kid, is I honestly think before you want to lead a community, you need to have some experience living in a community. You need to pay a mortgage. You need to, own a property, own a business. You need to pay taxes. Property taxes, income taxes. You need to see how the effect of these taxes on yourself. You know what I mean? You need to experience this stuff. You need to experience public schools before you think you can lead them. You need to, experience these things, at least some of them, before you can lead people in them. I'm sorry, you just don't have experience. And if you're starting this young, a friend of mine just brought this up to me yesterday. If you're starting in politics this young, I question your motives. You know what I mean? You don't have any of the experience of seeing how politics can really hurt you. Why are you running into politics? That's how you end up with politicians that have been in office for 40, 50 years, 47, like Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders, you know what I mean? Who basically never held down a job until they're just basically politicians for life, and that's not a good thing. You need to be living under those laws that you are going to, put into effect or you're going to enforce. So my pick's going to be Joe Molinar. Joe Molinar, he's very pro-police. I mean, every time I hear him talk, I think police state, which is the one thing that I'm like really didn't like, but no candidate's going to be perfect. I've talked to him. He's I wouldn't consider him a friend, but he's an acquaintance. He uses the same VA I use, so I've actually ran into him at the labs at the VA. He's he's a veteran. His heart's in the right place, man. He's 100%, all in on city council. So, I mean, he wants to do this for all the right reasons. He is definitely fiscally conservative. He's running because he's tired of what is happening in our city, just like a lot of us are. This reckless spending and stuff like that. Once again, it comes down to, is he going to defund the police? Absolutely not. This guy is hardcore. He's a former police officer. He's a former Marine and a former police officer. The only thing I didn't like about it, he's kind of an angry candidate. So he comes off kind of angry, but that's just Marines. Marines always come off angry, but they always have their heart in the right place. So, you got to love them. Almost every family member I have is former Marines. My brother, my son, my best friend, my dad, all Marines. So, I can relate to them. So Joel Molinar, you got my vote, dude. So that's my city council pick. A lot of these judge races I'm not going to go over just because it's just too much. I will say, so I'm going to go right to U.S. Senator, which we have John Cornyn, the Republican, who's starting to look more like a rhino. He's Inspired. I don't know if you heard me talking about your uncle's bar, man. I know you had to go. I was ranting, kind of like I've been ranting right now. But hey, man, my heart goes out to you and your uncle, man, for his business getting shut down. I hope everything comes out all right. If there's anything we can do, just let me know. If there's something somehow we can support. Especially you want to put some pressure on your city to try to reopen. I think, aren't you in Texas too? Governor Abbott, I don't know. This guy's getting pulled in every different direction. I don't think he knows what his head, which way is up right now. So, but hey, man, my heart goes out to your uncle, man. If there's anything we could do, just let me know. Definitely maybe we do a little fundraiser drive for him or something on election night. We do our 24-hour stream. We could do a 1 hour block or something where we can, put up a Cashapp tag or something. I don't like GoFundMe because they take a lot of your money. They take like 5% or something, but like Cashapp doesn't take anything. So, put up a Cashapp and try to get your uncle some money to hopefully try to keep that business open. I don't have a big audience, but I'll do what I can, brother, So, anyways, United States Senator John Cornyn is the incumbent Republican. He's looking more like a rhino. He's definitely a tax and spend Republican. He's all for this, medical, socialized medicine things, stands behind Trump and his border wall ridiculousness and stuff like that. So there's a lot of libertarian Republicans out there, or liberty leaning Republicans, that are not going to vote for Cornyn. So then you have MJ Hager, who's a retired Air Force officer who got shot down in Afghanistan or something. And so she tries to use that a lot as this like tough guy mentality or tough guy commercials and stuff. Yeah, I know. Yeah. So, but she's trying to come off of this some kind of patriot thing, but it's like a lot of Republicans in Texas when you're still supporting these wars overseas, you're anti-military in my book, plain and simple. When you're supporting using the United States military as a terrorist group in other countries for regime change or whatever you're trying to do over there, that is not defending the country. There's no defensive purpose for us being in these other countries and stuff, then you're anti-military in my book. So it's just a shame. MJ Hagar, same thing. She would do the same thing. So She's a Democrat, anyways. Left-leaning, tax and spend, healthcare for everybody, socialized medicine, which at least Cornyn and Hager could agree on that. So Kerry Douglas McKinnon, I'll be interviewing him on Tuesday right here on Libertarian Dave. Libertarian for U.S. Senate will definitely get my vote. The Green Party candidate, David Collins, I don't know anything about him. I just know that the Green Party is pretty much the socialist party in the United States. I mean, you got left, which is Democrat, but then you got way left, which is the Green Party. So I'm all for the Green Party being heard. So you think a lot of libertarians are pro Green Party. We're absolutely not. The Green Party is like out there, way other side from liberty. So, but we believe that we all should be heard. If you have a significant portion of the population that is backing you in an election, then you should be heard. That you should have the opportunity to be on the debate stage, and to have ballot access in places shouldn't be so stinking hard. The Green Party has a huge following as well, all these environmentalists and stuff. And I think the reason why the Green Party is so subdued is because they steal they say they steal votes from Democrats, because Democrats are kind of seen as the pro-environmental, but the Green Party is so pro-environment, they would literally kill everybody in order to save the environment. I mean, they would shut down everything to save the environment, like no more cars. The Green Party is like, but they should be heard because there's a lot of people like that. I mean, if we got to the point where the majority of our society believe that we should get rid of cars, then, maybe the Green Party would start winning elections. So Kerry Douglas McKinnon, well, he already knows I'm voting for him. U.S. Representative District 16, you have no Libertarian running. You got Veronica Escobar is the Democrat. Irene Armendariz-Jackson is the Republican. Veronica Escobar has a picture with Beto O'Rourke, has been supported and endorsed by Beto, which tells me no. And it's not just the anti-gun thing with Beto. I mean, he made promises to the VA he never did anything for. He basically won the incumbent. He beat out the incumbent, Sylvester Reyes, for his Congress seat here in El Paso, running on a pro-veteran platform, and did absolutely nothing for veterans while he was here. Matter of fact, the federal government threw $5 million at him so he could use it to help the VA. Where'd it go? What did it do? He did the Choice Act, which just basically allows you to pick a local doctor to take care of you. But then once you pick that local doctor, even if you hate that local doctor, you can't go back to the VA for that same thing. So if you had like a heart condition and you choose a cardiologist that's in El Paso and they end up being sucking, then you can't go back to the VA or pick another call. You're stuck with that cardiologist. That was the Choice Act that Beto put in place, or co-sponsored or sponsored or something. So anyways, but Veronica Escobar, Democrat, pro-spending, pro-lockdowns, pro-violations of your liberty, would never even mention the Constitution in any speech because doesn't believe in it, and you're not going to get my vote. Irene Armendariz-Jackson, pro-fiscal conservatism. Definitely, I don't like that she puts that Republican tag on her, but once again, it comes down to the economy in El Paso, and I think she is definitely the right choice economically, as far as trying to keep the federal government out of our taxes and stuff. She's also pro choice education too, so choice on education, which is a big thing for me. Railroad commissioner. I want to talk about railroad commissioner a little bit. If you're in Texas, a lot of people don't even know what railroad commissioner is. Railroad commissioner basically handles the regulation of the oil and gas industry. Yeah. One of the biggest industries in Texas, oil and gas. That's what the railroad commissioner does. Isn't that weird? Why don't they call it the oil and gas commissioner? Oh, seems kind of deceptive, right? Don't like it. So what you really need to look at when it comes to railroad commissioner is who is more experienced in the oil and gas industry and has the same political philosophy as you. So we have a libertarian running. Matt Starrett, I'm trying to get an interview. I may still try to get an interview with him soon. I asked him. He replied he's basically he works in the oil and gas industry, so he's been busy with work, so I wasn't able to get in there. Krista Castaneda, the Democrat, it'd be frightening to see what Democrats would do as far as environmentally with regulating the oil and gas industry. I could just imagine our gas prices going through the roof as they tried to over-regulate our oil and gas industry in Texas. Jim Wright is the incumbent Republican, and it's basically railroad commissioner is almost always a stepping stone. Let me tell you some of the people that have been railroad commissioners. Like I think both the Bushes were railroad, both the George Bushes I think were railroad commissioner. Jeb Bush was railroad commissioner. So it's like a stepping stone to governor, which is a stepping stone to president. You know, so. And then there's a Green Party candidate. Oh, that would be really frightening if there's a Green Party candidate won the railroad commissioner. So. When you see railroad commissioner, just think oil and gas industry. That's what they do. It's an elected official who does it. And then basically the rest of the Senate District 29. Oh, yeah. Let me go through that too. So then we got, let's see. Oh, president and vice president. Yeah. Donald Trump. New wave Republican. Spending war hawk Republican who believes in nationalism, locking down our country. Absolutely not. A businessman who's funneling money to his buddies and himself, setting himself up for the future by lowering regulation on the hotel industries and stuff. Just not right place. Banning bump stocks, violation of our Second Amendment rights. His record on liberty is questionable at best. The one thing I can say about President Trump is he has done an outstanding job for minorities, and he's done more for criminal justice reform than any president since JFK. But he hasn't done enough. He's not talking about ending qualified immunity like Justin Amash, our libertarian congressman, has submitted. It won't end qualified immunity, won't end civil asset forfeiture. He won't end no dock raids. He won't do the real business of criminal justice reform either. So, but he has done a lot for minorities and criminal justice reform. That's about all the good I can say about him. Joe Biden, I have no idea who's pulling that puppet strings. He says some of the weirdest things. I mean, he's like pro-environment, no Green Deal, then yes, Green Deal, and all this, and then this massive socialized medicine thing, trillions of dollars it would cost, and our medical care would just get worse and worse and worse. I mean, I use the VA system, which is a government system. So when you talk about government healthcare, I get scared. I don't want my kids using the VA. Put it that way. I don't want my wife using the VA. No, I would rather her be using real stuff. So sorry, Joe Biden, not getting my vote. Green Party, Socialist Party, not getting my vote. Joe Jorgensen, yeah, you know who's getting my vote for president. Joe Jorgensen, PhD, Clemson University, big time libertarian, although I don't agree with everything on the libertarian platform, national platform. I don't agree that, across the board, but I agree that moving the bar towards liberty is definitely the direction that we need to go. So you have Republicans and at the federal level, Republicans are moving the bar towards, away from liberty like this fast. And then Democrats are moving the bar away from liberty this fast. You know what I mean? So, Joe Jorgensen would move the bar towards liberty this fast. So that's the point. You know what I mean? We want a more free society, a more liberty-focused government that is interested less in gaining more power for themselves and more giving more power to the people. Joe Jorgensen is the president for the people. She wants you to be responsible for yourself. Which any adult should be okay with, like I said in one of my tweets, the worst thing about having a libertarian, electing libertarians is you're not going to be able to blame the government for everything. So, you'll be responsible. So, so moving on down, Chief Justice Supreme Court. I think Mark Ashe, Libertarian, hands down. Mark's a great guy. Really, really good lawyer. Justice Supreme Court, place 7, William Bryan Strange III, Libertarian, solid pick. Justice Supreme Court, place 6 is Jane Bland and Kathy Chang. Kathy Chang has done is a really solid lawyer and candidate, which she's a Democrat and probably will be one of the few Democrats that I actually vote for on my ballot. But yeah, I'm really impressed with Kathy Chang. Jane Bland, it's kind of way too hardcore conservative for me. William Bryan Strange III for Libertarian, place 7. I already went through that one. Tom Oxford for place 8, Libertarian, definitely. Really good lawyer there too. Criminal appeals courts I haven't went through yet. And I don't recognize any of the names. This is weird. The State Board of Education, I thought we had a Libertarian running for that. If not, I'll probably go with Jennifer Ivey, the Republican, because Republicans are pro-choice on education. So I'll generally go that way when it comes to education. Senate District 29. State Senate District 29. That's the state senator, which was the office I was going to run for. So I was actually on the ballot for a little time period for that one. Bethany Hatch, Republican, and Cesar J Blanco. Blanco is a career politician. He did a few years in the Navy, I guess. He tries to hang his hat on that. But other than that, he's pretty much been a politician and a, what do they call it? Like a advisor and stuff or whatever. So that's all he's done. He takes money from big oil and gas companies, like the $20,000 donor from the CFO of the oil and gas company that's responsible for the Eagle Shelf in Texas. So like I said, with the campaign finance thing, like the dark money, you can track where these people are getting paid from, and he's getting paid. So a Democrat has held this seat in state Senate for 50 years, for as long as I can remember. A Democrat has held this seat. So it's pretty much a solid that, I mean, I haven't seen an advertisement yet from Cesar Blanco. I was surprised he even debated Bethany Hatch on a Zoom meeting. So he hasn't advertised or anything else. So he pretty much just figures he's got it in the bag because he's a Democrat, right? Democrats held this seat for 50 years. He's not going to lose it. So when you get a donor that's the CFO of an oil and gas company in Texas that's throwing $20,000 into your campaign, what are they buying? You're not spending it on campaigning. So what are they buying? Might be buying some votes when you get up into that Senate seat. Buying some votes, maybe. I'm just saying. This is the way politics works. So, of course, Bethany, who's a hardcore leaning libertarian Republican or liberty leaning Republican, endorsed by the Republican Liberty Caucus here in El Paso, Texas. I've heard it come out of her mouth that it's principle over party. That she's definitely principled over party. I've talked to her about it. Like, what are you going to do when you get into office and your fellow Republicans are trying to tell you to vote a certain way when you know that is not what's going to benefit the people? And she's like, I'm going to stand with the people, So I'll hold her to that. As a Christian, she's an El Paso business owner. She employs 20 plus people, and she's born and raised here. She's got a vested interest in the success of El Paso. So I think that's exactly what we need as a state senator up there in Austin. So Bethany, you already know that you got my vote. So so Bethany Hatch for Senate District 29. State Representative District 78. Joe Moody, this was the other one I was considering running for. Joe Moody, the Democrat, and Jeffrey Lane, Republican. Joe Moody is a good guy. I respect him. I respect his his stance against domestic violence. I respect his stance he's definitely pro legalization, which kind of has me leaning towards him. Jeffrey Lane, I'm still up in the air about this race here. I really like Moody, but he's anti-gun. So that's when it's something that liberty related, it's your right to self-defense. When you're willing to sacrifice innocent people, their right to self-defense, I really question you as a legislator. So more than likely, Jeff Alley will get my vote. He's another Republican district. Bill Moody, a bunch of uncontested races by Democrats running for judicial court district judges all over El Paso. So Phyllis Martinez Gonzalez will get my vote for District Judge 383. She's a Republican. She's a really nice person too. She definitely has her head in the right place when it comes to legislating or from working the bench. The rest are uncontested till Constable Precinct 2. Edward Cena and Danny Zamora. Danny Zamora, if I'm not mistaken, he is the one. I haven't looked at this race really close yet. Danny Zamora, I believe, is a former MP, military guy. I talked to him. Constables are, they basically work for your constable of the peace. So they worked for your justice of the peace. So the justice of the peace is the guy who does marriages, licensing, and stuff like that. They also do they'll issue warrants and stuff. They do truancy at schools and stuff like that. All the stuff that the justice of the peace handles. The justice of the peace is the judge for that court. The justice of the peace for precinct 2, right? So ours, I think, is Haggerty. And so whatever law enforcement that judge needs to enforce, then the constable is the one who enforces it. So it's basically like the justice of the peace's personal cop, which cop actually stands for constable of the peace. So that's it. That's my entire sample ballot. Man, that took me like a long time. So just to give you an understanding of how you can go through your candidates and make your decisions about these. No candidate's going to be perfect, but you have to determine what's best for your city, what's personal to you, and determine the best candidate like that. You got to have like for me, the most important thing, like for me personally, the big things for me are education, the right to self-defense, gun rights, and not legalizing or not legislating morality, like with legalization of drugs and stuff like that. Those I think are really hardcore violations of liberty. Those are my personal things. Now, when it comes to my city and electing my city representatives and stuff, the economics of El Paso are huge. We spend way too much. We spend way outside of our means in El Paso. So the economy and spending is the biggest thing for me. I think that's the biggest thing we need to fix in El Paso. We need to allow El Pasoans to keep more of our money. If it wasn't for the Border Patrol headquarters and Fort Bliss, we wouldn't have an economy in El Paso. Bethany Hatch actually said that. So, but it's true. If Fort Bliss packed up and left and the border shifted to another city, we'd be done. Juarez, Mexico was 4 million people. It's 4 times the population of El Paso, and they come over here shopping all the time. So they dump money into our economy. So I mean, it's huge. So I mean, we need to have a self-sufficient economy in El Paso. We need to quit taxing our population to death. So That's big. It's when it comes to Corona and COVID and stuff. You know, I definitely look and see which politicians stood up for the Constitution, because the fact is that all of these mandates and stuff are absolutely violations of our constitutional rights, and Supreme Courts across the nation are making that determination. And eventually, the U.S. Supreme Court's going to have to take it up and put their fist down. They're going to have to slam it, because nowhere in the Constitution does it state that we lose our rights because of an emergency. Nowhere. These are unconstitutional rules that have been applied to governors across the country, and they need to be retracted. Plain and simple. They need to be repealed. Governors and mayors have no right to violate our rights in case of an emergency. It's just none. So I look at that also, which that would mean Abbott probably wouldn't get my vote, but libertarians always run somebody for governor. So let me catch up on chat. It looked like you guys were just all talking to Kid Play, so that's why I was kind of ignoring chat. Practical. Hey, way back when, I don't know if you're still on here or not. Do you know of any significant changes, promises the candidates have, like lowering the importance of enforcing victimless laws, etc.? Anything that stands out in these candidates? No, it hasn't really come up. The victimless laws thing really hasn't come up a lot. I can tell you that El Paso is leaning as far as the decriminalizing marijuana, for one. They have went to like stop and cite. They're only giving tickets. They're not actually. We really need to get rid of our police chief, because any police chief that he's basically saying that because we give him a ticket for it, that it still has to be processed, so it still costs just as much money. You know what I mean? So we might as well arrest them. That's kind of what he said at the city council meeting about the stop and fine law that they just passed. So I'm like, dude, you're ridiculous. So they're giving people tickets for minor. It was for minor possession of marijuana. I'm sorry, just skip that part. For minor possession of marijuana, they're just giving people tickets here in El Paso now, instead of taking them to jail. So, but most of the candidates were pretty for that. I think it passed. The mayor didn't even need to vote on it. So, the mayor only needs to vote if there's a tie. So I think there's 8 city council members. So if it's 4-4, then the mayor needs to vote on it. These mandates are not victimless laws. These are laws that are causing victims. So they're victim causing laws. People are dying. People are dying from a virus. They're not dying from anything else. Nothing that is caused. Victimless means that when there's a victim, there's a perpetrator. So victimless means there's no victim, perpetrator with no victim. See, what you're talking about, kid, is the mandates are not victimless, but there's no perpetrator. The perpetrator is a virus. The virus does not obey the law. Otherwise, we could arrest the virus and put it in jail and we'd be okay. This is how you interpret the law. You put your emotions out of it. You use logic and reasoning when you interpret the law. This is what our politicians should be doing. This is what our Supreme Court justices should be doing. They apply the law with logic and reason, not with emotion. See, you are legislating with emotion. That's why, thank God, you're not a politician. Apply for the loan. What, the small business loan that nobody can get anymore? that Evolve tried to apply for 5 minutes after it went into effect, and they said it was all the money was gone already. Well put, practical. I like that one. Oh, churches need to be shut down? Yeah. Okay, dude. You need to be shut down. Parks. So all these kids can't go play at the park now, even though they seldom show any symptoms of it. But we're going to shut down parks. We're going to stop kids from going to school, even though kids, even if they get corona, they seldom need to be. I think like 2% of them need to be hospitalized. Only like 5% of them are even contagious. This stuff has absolutely nothing. It kind of makes me think that, because there was actually a scientific study that came out early on in corona that said melatonin levels was because melatonin is an antioxidant, so it helps build immune. It's an immune fighter, and as you get older, your melatonin levels drop. That's why older people have trouble sleeping. That's why they take naps all the time and stuff like that, and why kids can just, like teenagers and stuff, can just knock out anywhere, right? So they were saying that melatonin levels was a significant indicator of how severe or how likely you were to catch corona. So like melatonin. So I've been taking melatonin supplements since then, even though I take melatonin anyways, because it's an antioxidant. It's good for you. So, and as you get older, you get less of it. Nope. City can't shut down churches. Jesus is essential. Where's my hat? This is an interesting point that Kid Play makes right here, that they can require churches to conform to building and fire codes, assign occupancy limits to church buildings. It's interesting because I remember Abbott saying to like hair and nail salons, like if they don't want to comply to his, shutdown thing or 50% limits or whatever, that he was like, oh, well, we'll just pull their license. That's the dictator. That's what dictators do. You know what I mean? Like, we're going to arrest you. We're going to violate your rights and then arrest you if you're not okay with it. That's fascism, people. Do these candidates have the ability to change tax laws? Absolutely, man. Absolutely. They can. Well, the city cover, they have a big chunk of our taxes that they collect. And then a lot of it is at state level and stuff. That's why there's a lot of talk at state level deals with a lot of the property taxes, since 45% of our property taxes goes to fund the Department of Education at the state level. So, if we got school choice, they could literally cut our property tax, which is the slave tax, cut our property taxes by 45% just by ending the Department of Education, and giving us the money and allowing us to choose how and where our kids are educated. So yeah, they do a lot of these. They do always, anytime it comes to spending and where they're going to get their revenue from, it always comes down to that. It's at city level, like you see the taxes and stuff on your water bills and stuff like that. Different city services, how much you pay for it. Like the city charges, organized sports leagues, they charge them to use the parks. It's like per person, it's like $10 or $15 per person. Like Evolve, he does his he's got his football camps going on right now. His football teams, they want to practice at a city park that is already paid for using tax dollars by the parents of the children that are practicing there. But because it's an organized league, they charge the parents $10 or $15 a person for every practice. It's nuts. Somebody ought to take them to court for that. That just seems like double dipping. You know what I mean? So yeah, there's the city council, and yeah, they have a lot they can do, and all the way up to state level. State Senate, Congress. As far as the U.S. representatives, like U.S. senator, U.S. congressmen, and stuff, they'll deal with taxes at the federal level. They're basically the legislators at the federal level. A lot of our taxes come from state level though, and local. So. Now, if they're created to save people's lives from fire codes, which I don't necessarily agree with a lot of those either, because they just end up becoming red tape bureaucracies that collect more money from people who have to abide by them. There should be an independent private certification agency that deals with fire code and stuff like that, or just have the fire department come by and say, yep, it's fire safe. Leave the bureaucracies out of it, stuff like that. But but anything that has to do with shutting down to avoid a virus is a violation of religious freedom, plain and simple, because there's always going to be viruses. There's always a virus. There's always flu. So every flu season, we're going to shut down churches. Every time somebody gets a sniffle, we're going to shut down churches. Every time there's some kind of no. In emergencies is when people need the churches the most. So yeah, building codes and stuff like that. Yeah, that stuff exists, and most churches have no problem abiding by building codes and stuff like that, and making sure that their buildings and occupancies are safe, and but as far as this other stuff that has to do with this virus, absolutely anything that they try to put into effect on a church that had to do with trying to limit this virus would be a violation of religious freedom, plain and simple. Nope, they can't tell churches they can't open. They can't set curfews. So you're saying that they should use already existing laws, that they should abuse those laws in order to enforce some kind of a shutdown of churches. That's crooked, backwards, and how politicians end up in the Supreme Court. We can go vote after 1 p.m. today. So after church today. Yeah, we're going to church today. And we're having a barbecue at church. It is bullying inspired. The same as all of this stuff is basically political bullying. I mean, it's authoritarianism, it's emperor, it's dictatorship, it's fascism, it's complete overreach of our government. This is the exact things that our Constitution, Texas Constitution and the United States Constitution, was written to protect us from. Our Constitution are written to protect us from the government. That's what they're written. This is exactly what they're written to protect us from. So the police came in and shut down the service. Yes. It was not a service. Illegal beverage with no permit. They were drinking at church. That's interesting. A bar using a church. A lot are doing it. So now we're bad-mouthing churches, kid. Besides the bad spelling there, Michelle, I get your point. Respect what you're trying to do, and I think you have good intentions, but your government has fooled you. This is true. Government is not your friend. They are your oppressor. Government oppresses. That's what they do. That's their entire job, is oppression. They have no other purpose. They cannot grant you freedoms or liberty. They only take them. They are your oppressor. It's up to you to determine how much of that oppression you're okay with. People like Kid Play are okay with an awful lot of oppression, like giving them all of the power to oppress. People like me are on the other side of the spectrum who believe that I am responsible enough for myself and I'll keep myself safe. No, thank you there, government. I'll take as little oppression as possible. The only oppression I need from government is to oppress me from violating somebody else's liberty. That's it. That's it. Yep. Michelle knows her stats, man. Thank you, man. That's well put. That is a well put statement right there, Michelle. Appreciate that. I've said similar. I think this thing has like a 2 or 3% mortality rate. People are getting sick. Oh my God. Oh my God. People get sick. People get sick all the stinking time. And we don't even look at the death rate anymore. We're not even looking at hospitalization rates. You know what I mean? The whole thing in the beginning was flattening the curve. We got a spike in cases. Oh my God. So what? Who cares? People are getting sick. People get sick all the time. More people probably got cancer right now than got COVID. That's a misleading statement. It's absolutely not misleading. It's factual. It's logical. Stating facts with numbers to back it up. Wow, how is that misleading? Sorry, I'm still catching up. I think I almost caught up, guys. Cite and release. That's it. Appreciate it, Practical. Yeah, no, there was a former police. No, it wasn't a former police officer that was arguing against cite and release. It was the police chief, our current police chief. But luckily, the police chief is not an elected official. He's a appointed official. I think the mayor appoints the police chief. But the sheriff, the reason why the sheriff is the ultimate law of the land in your county or whatever is because the sheriff is elected. So the sheriff is an elected official. So remember that. So whenever you see the sheriff on your ballot, which we don't have a sheriff on our ballot this election cycle, it's probably midterm. But look at that. Look at your sheriff candidates and see where their beliefs stand. So especially with me, it would definitely be marijuana laws, victimless crime laws. You know what I mean? Where do they stand on victimless crimes? You know, cite and release is going in the right direction, but doesn't go far enough. We need to just allow people to consume whatever the hell they want. They're grown adults. They should be responsible for themselves. Same thing with alcohol. You know what I mean? It's not until your consumption harms another person that it becomes against the law. We don't pre-crime. You know what I mean? You don't get to arrest people for doing something that may cause them to cause a crime, to do a crime later. No, that's pre-crime. We don't do that. We don't arrest you because you could be a heroin addict and be perfectly okay staying in your house killing yourself with this poison that you're putting into your body all the time. You're not hurting anybody else. You know, there's no law, you know, against poisoning yourself. You can poison yourself with whatever you want. You know, you're basically just saying that drugs are illegal because they cause some kind of burden on the community or whatever, which is absolutely not true. The actual war on drugs causes more of a burden on community than drugs themselves through police violence and these over patrolling of minority neighborhoods and stuff like that. So El Paso, yeah, the city, So for El Paso, yes, the city council streams live YouTube the city council meetings on Tuesdays. Sometimes I'll have special meetings too, and you can do call-ins too. So, and you can look at the agenda for the Tuesday city council meeting. You can look at that agenda on Thursday on the city's website, and then if you see something on the agenda that you want to speak on, there's a form you fill out. You submit it to the clerk, and you'll get 3 minutes to speak on that when they do public comment. So I've done public comment many times. You call in, you sit on hold. For now, because of COVID restrictions, they're not doing it in person. So you actually just call in, sit on hold. Whenever your agenda item comes up, they'll ask for public comment, and then the city clerk will announce your name. You unhold yourself, and you get to talk and let city council know how you feel about that agenda item. So, and most of your other cities are probably the same way. They probably have something similar. Just look into it. Now, I encourage you to get involved, especially locally. You can make a big difference locally. 1% mortality rate means it's no. Mortality rate means that it's 10 times more lethal than the seasonal flu. Now that's false. That's a false statistic. 329 million residents, a 1% survival rate. It takes on a different meaning. 1%. What you talking about, dude? Suggest the next candidates give us tax breaks for buying our own drinking water. El Paso water is over 500 parts per million. Tax breaks for buying our own drinking water. I don't know how you would track that. So you got to be careful with these tax breaks that they don't end up costing more money in the long run by, a tracking system, or how you would handle that. You can't just shut off the water to your house. And I mean, if you could supply your own water that way, then. I don't understand what your statement. 329 million, about 1% survival rate takes on a different. So 1%. It's more 1% mortality rate, not survival rate. Using laws to shut down churches. Yeah, it's definitely an abuse of power. A credit on the water bill, but I mean, like I said, how do you track if you're supplying your own drinking water? How are they going to be able to know that you're abiding by this policy in order to receive the tax break? Why don't we just get a tax break, period, because our water sucks? You know what I mean? I didn't make the virus. That's funny. They've been saying we're going to run out of hospital space for the last 6 months. Feeding homeless laws, being homeless laws. Being homeless is not a crime. I agree 100%. A lot of, I'm going to say, I won't even say a lot, but there are some homeless people that choose to be homeless. I know homeless is bad, and in California, there's a lot of people choosing to be homeless because they can't afford to pay the taxes in order to live in a house. So, but I mean, there's a lot of veterans I know that have just wanted to disconnect from society, basically go off the grid, and that's how they do it. They just become homeless. No responsibility, no, it's kind of like absolute freedom. Like, I mean, you're kind of invisible, as long as the police leave you alone. Appreciate you bringing up the marijuana laws, but I just want to put it out there. There's more effed up laws out there that make humanity illegal. That is true. Can you give us some examples? Practical? Let me put it up here. Not just marijuana laws, but any victimless crimes out there. I think if there's no victim, there shouldn't be no crime. I think that's like one of the biggest thing. The same thing with like these mask mandates and business shutdowns and stuff. There's no victim. I mean, preventing a virus is not preventing victims. Victims from a virus is not victims from violations of liberty. So, there's no justification in my book for any of this stuff. So, there's a lot of the taxation and stuff that happens are, like property taxes and, stuff like that. Any laws that prevent your ability to defend yourself by any means you deem necessary as a violation. Collecting rainwater. Yeah, in a lot of places like in Oregon, they try to ban collecting rainwater. I mean, banning collecting rainwater. Like why couldn't you collect rainwater? Like a lot of people collect rainwater and they water their plants with it and stuff, Just saying, it's scary how cases are going up, but we're supposed to just hide. Serious question. 5th grade class. Yeah. It's scary how cases are going up, but are we supposed to just hide? If you're immune compromised or elderly or could die from this thing, statistically, we know whether we're going to die from this thing or not. How severe it's going to hit us based on the statistics. We know that if we're overweight, we have a 3 times more likely chance of having severe complications due to COVID-19. If you're over the age of, I think, 75, then you are more likely to have some severe complications from COVID-19. If you type 2 diabetes, stuff like this. We know these statistics of these people that are dying or having severe complications from COVID-19. So if you fall into one of those categories, you should probably stay home. You should probably mask up. You should probably wash your hands a lot and be careful on who you're around. Who you allow in your house or around you and stuff. You should probably take extra care until a vaccine comes out and you're okay with taking it, as if you're okay with taking it. Or you have some people that actually, get the antibodies by getting the COVID-19. Healthy person that gets COVID-19 and then gets the antibodies, then they could go out and get your groceries for you and stuff like that. But the problem is that we're not allowing anybody to get sick because we're so scared. You know what I mean? So, yeah, the way it should have been handled to begin with. And the way it would have been handled, I think we would have handled it. I think a lot less people would have died if the government wouldn't have got involved at all. Honestly, because there wouldn't be no division. You know what I mean? There wouldn't have been none of this, oh, well, you're a Republican, so you're not wearing a mask. And you're a sheep Democrat because you're wearing a mask. There wouldn't have been none of that. You know what I mean? They'd have been like, oh, you're immune compromised. That's why you're wearing a mask. I'll put my mask on, to further protect you. You know what I mean? Because I understand why you're wearing a mask, because you're elderly or you are an immune compromised person and you want to take precautions. So I'm going to take precautions with you. There would have been more of that. Community leaders stepping up saying, hey, in my church, you're going to wear a mask. There wouldn't have been no division like, oh, yeah, because you're requiring masks in your business, you must be a Democrat. There wouldn't have been none of that. I'm not shopping. I'm not going to go there because that's obviously a bunch of Democrats running that place because they're requiring masks. No, it'd have been like, oh, they care. They're limiting their customers, because they care, not because of stupid mandates by our government. It would have been better. We'd have had less people getting sick because people would have took more precaution. You know what I mean? It wouldn't have been so politically divisive now, And then actually, wearing these masks and everything is actually lowering people's immune system anyways, which is going to make it hit people harder and cause people to get even more sick. So, I mean, that's just science. So. Shutdowns and social distancing haven't been working. How has it been working? Prove that it's been working. Show me the proof. So you could probably be first in line for that vaccine, right, Kid Play? Just let me know how that works out for you. He was denied a relief loan because he didn't shut down on his own. What in the world does that mean? Since the police got involved, he wasn't, I guess, ineligible. That is weird, dude. So wow. So you see why it's important to follow the emperor's rules? When Hitler says to do something, you freaking better do it. When laws are not there to force you to be a good person, you are left with the honor code and reputation. people will do things out of the kindness of their hearts. That's what people like to do. It's the same thing with it all. I mean, it boils on the same argument about welfare. You know what I mean? It's, no love goes into having the government take your taxes from you and donate it to the poor. There's a lot of love that would go into donating it to the poor directly. Like if I give money, like I do give money, I give a lot of money to my church and to different organizations and stuff. We sponsor kids and, give to the orphanage and Juarez and all this stuff that we do. I feel good about that stuff. That's where I get my karma from that. But when the government mandates things, and it just takes all of the joy out of it. You know what I mean? When it becomes a bureaucracy, there's no joy in it. You know what I mean? I think this pandemic, and in a case of a lot of emergencies, I've seen it happen in earthquakes and stuff like that, where communities just come together in times of emergency. You saw it during 9/11. The whole country came together after 9/11. And I think the same thing would have happened with Corona if our divisive government hadn't used their divisive tactics in order to divide the country on these partisan lines. And I mean, just look at chat right now. Kid plays on one side with, I don't know if there's anybody else on that side or not, but, on one side that are pro-government, and then we have the rest of the citizens that are pro, liberty or, anti-government. So it's just, I believe that we all probably would have been a lot closer to kid play, the way kid play feels about these lockdowns and stuff, if the government hadn't been involved, if it hadn't been mandated. Kid play, I don't think anybody has any problem with you saying that people shouldn't be going to churches or people shouldn't be going to bars. The problem is with the government mandating it. You know what I mean? That's the problem. That's what I'm saying. When the government mandated it, they caused the division. They put the dividing line in there. I think almost everybody in chat would be on your side that, hey, we need to be careful. We need to be safe. There's a virus out there. It's killing people. We need to take precautions. We need to social distance. We need to wear a mask. We need to, limit our, going outside or going to places and stuff like that. I think a lot more people would be on your side with those things if the government hadn't taken our liberty to choose to do those things or not away from us by making them against the law, by turning innocent people into criminals, by making innocent actions illegal. I think that's the significant point. Hopefully I'm just trying to put this entire thing to bed by, making this statement. It's not anybody personally attacking you or your beliefs about this virus. It's more attacking you and your beliefs about the government's authority to violate our liberty in relation to this virus. So it's not government's it's not government's job to keep us safe from ourselves. It's not. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness is not covering yourself. If you want to put yourself in harm's way, then you have that. Nobody's going to stop you from jumping out of that airplane. Nobody's going to stop you from scuba diving and taking off your mask underwater, or whatever. Nobody's going to stop you from doing those things that can harm yourself. That's why I say seatbelt laws are one of the biggest violations of our rights there are. So. Hey, Practical, I'm going to get your information, man. I got some of your contact information. I'm going to add you to my Libertarian Party of El Paso County list, and I'm going to use my position as chair of the Libertarian Party here in El Paso. I think it's on the back here. As an outreach service, where we're going to do community service and stuff like that, fundraising, community service, all across the entire county, probably District 29. I don't know, as far out as I can go. I'm just trying to get the word out right now. And that's how I plan on building the party. Volunteerism is a huge part of being a libertarian. When you no longer want government responsible for stuff, then you need to take responsibility for it. So if you're demanding that government no longer be responsible for taking care of the poor or the less fortunate among us, then you need to take responsibility for it. So that's why I've seen that libertarians across the spectrum have been the most giving and compassionate people I've ever met in my life. Outside of church, I have never met a more volunteer-oriented agency than the Libertarian Party. Hands down. Chris, Trump is your president. How's that working out for you, right? Well, we already been through that. Kid Play only chooses his opinions based off one single logical point. So he doesn't, you can't expand it. So when you talk about fascism, when you talk, we're just talking about, stay on the coronavirus mandates. You can't expand that to anywhere else. You can't expand that. So he basically a straw man argument on just coronavirus mandates. So that's the straw man for Kid. This is why straw man arguments don't work. That's why you don't argue straw man. That's why I was telling y'all to stop feeding the trolls, because trolls use straw man arguments and they don't work. So, hey, do you got my email? You post my. You know what? I'm gonna put that as a banner. So you guys, let me create a new banner here. So that's my email. Hey, what's going on, Taco Maniac? I love that name, man. Taco Maniac. I like me some tacos too, man. We do that Taco Tuesday every Tuesday. You got to show me. Kid Play says shutdowns are legal and constitutional. You're gonna have to send. You're gonna have to send me some documentation that proves that. That's funny because Supreme Courts across the country are saying no. Matter of fact, I have a Supreme Court document from the. I have an opinion from the Supreme Court of Texas that says no, that they're not constitutional. No, let's see. Maybe I should do a poll. Is Kid Play a troll? So here we go. Here's the link. Chat. Boom. There's the troll. There's the link. There is the link. Now I'll put it up over here so we can view it. So here we go. Internet troll. An internet slang, a troll is a person who starts flame wars or intentionally upsets people on the internet by posting inflammatory and digressive, extraneous, or off-topic messages in an online community, such as a news group, internet forum, chat room, or blog, with the intent of provoking readers into displaying emotional responses and normalizing tangential discussion, either for the troll's amusement or a specific gain. So, let's just ask the audience, how many ever people are in here has Kid Play been trolling? I mean, you can look off-topic messages. Has he been on topic at all about anything that I was discussing or I listed in the description or the title? I mean, Practical Practitioner and Michelle Garcia, Layla, all of them tried to stay on topic, but because of his inflammatory, statements and stuff, emotionally charged, inflammatory, off-topic statements, he would change the topic of conversation in a direction that would, take away from the actual discussion of another topic. So do you think that do you think that Kid Play is trolling, that he trolled this conversation? He did a good job because he got me talking about him too. So good quality trolling there. We must obey. That is straight out of Animal Farm and just anything George Orwell. Have you read George Orwell yet, Kid Play? I encourage you to read some George Orwell. Educate yourself, man. So anyways, I'm going to wrap this up, people. Russian bot. Appreciate everybody's conversation, including you, Kid Play. I appreciate the trolls, man. I don't think you've reached a level in you haven't reached a level in podcasting or YouTubing or whatever you want to call this until you get a few trolls. So appreciate it. So what is this? Oh. So scripture today, I just popped right onto it. We're going to go with John 8. We're going to start at 34. I like to go a little bit before because this is one of the big free ones. So if the Son sets you free, you are free indeed. But I'm going to go back because the freedom that Jesus is talking about here is not the freedom that you panicky. So Jesus is talking about freedom from sin, but I think it kind of applies. You know what I mean? Freedom is freedom, really. So, but Jesus does give us freedom from sin. So Jesus answered, "Truly, truly, I say to you, everyone who practices sin is a slave to sin. The slave does not remain in the house forever. The son remains forever. So if the Son sets you free, you will be free indeed." I know that you are offspring of Abraham, yet you seek to kill me because my words find no place in you. I speak of what I have seen with my father, and you do what you have heard from your father. So I think that's another jab at government too. Like which father are you obeying? Are you obeying Father God or are you obeying Father Government? Which one's going to really protect you? Is it going to be Father God or is it going to be Father Government? So the only Jesus sets us free from sin, but through that he also can set you free in your mind. That's how people like Nelson Mandela survived 25 years in prison and come out and are okay. It's Jesus, I just missed this. The guy who wrote the book was in a concentration camp, and he prayed every day that he wouldn't lose compassion for his Nazi captors. Do you know what I mean? Somebody help me out. I can't think of his name. Linkle, Finkel. So, but anyways, that's the freedom. You know what I mean? Even if you're in prison, if you have God in your heart and you have that freedom from sin, then you can be free in your mind, even if you're imprisoned. So that's really the true freedom, true liberty comes in your obedience to God and that thing. True joy do happen. It's a struggle every day, but it is it's a struggle worth having. I find that it's a slow process moving that bar of joy and happiness up, but I think through God, through belief and a spiritual practice, that you could start moving that bar up. Keep becoming happier and happier. And it's a baseline. So a lot of us that suffer from depression and stuff, that baseline has been just so low that you need something to boost it up. And if you have no spiritual practice, I honestly believe that there's 3 levels. You got spirit, you have a spiritual, physical, and mental. So you need to feed all 3 of these things. You need to have a spiritual life where you're feeding that spiritual side and you're growing, and you have a healthy spiritual life. You need to have a healthy physical life, which you're putting into your body, how you're taking care of your body. That's important things. It's not just you are what you eat. I mean, what you eat becomes you. I mean, so if you're eating garbage, that's what your body's going to react to. So, and then a mental life, you need to be educating yourself, constantly trying to expand your mind, seeking logic, seeking reason, or seeking arts and stuff like that. I think arts kind of borderlines on spiritual and mental, but constantly trying to expand your mind is a big thing. So, but that's what I want to leave you with. Definitely go check out Joe Jorgensen, joe20.com, our presidential candidate. Go check out lp.org. We should create a banner for lp.org for libertarian candidates in your neighborhood. If you want to know more about your libertarian candidates, let me bring that. I'll post that website up real quick. lp.org, and you can see all of the libertarian candidates that will be on your ballot. Joe20 pops up. There we go. 2020 candidates. Boom. Oh, that wasn't all that complicated. No, they're still going at it, huh? There you go. You can check out your candidates. That is the link, lp.org, 2020 candidates, to go check out all the candidates that are going to be on your ballot that are libertarian, that want to make you more free, stop the government from taking your money, and make you safer. Save the environment. Make education better. Help healthcare. Better healthcare, better education, less money taken out of your pocket, and make you safer. Pretty impressive, huh? So anyways, I'm done. Again, that scripture was John 8:34 through 38. You are all of your he says your father is the devil in the next chapter, or the next paragraph. But anyways, appreciate y'all's time. Kid play, love you, man. Save the environment, stay home. Save the environment. Probably will work. If we all just died, the environment would be awesome. Everybody gone. No more industrial pollution, none of that stuff. Just get rid of the human race. The environment should just recover completely, right? Be perfect. Nope. Global warming would still exist, even if we didn't. It's just a fact. Oh, look at you guys. See, what makes you a troll, though, Kid Play, is not that you came in here. It's not if you were on your own platform making those comments and stuff, or on a platform that was talking about that subject, then you wouldn't be trolling. But you've been on here the last 3 or 4 or whatever amount of of my podcasts with the same topic that people have already said the same thing about. We've already had everybody's opinion about it. The topic should be put to rest. You're not going to convince anybody else, and obviously nobody's going to convince you otherwise. So the topic's already dead and gone, but you keep coming into the podcast every single time I go live and talking about it. That's what makes you a troll. The first time you did it, I didn't call you a troll. I brought up videos and stuff, and we changed the whole conversation, and we focused on it, and we had a discussion about it and everything. You know, we went, but I guess the outcome of my podcast didn't turn out to be what you wanted. So now you're trolling. Now you've taken that subject and became a troll about it, dude. So I'm glad you don't think you are, and you're actually defending the fact that you don't think you're trolling, but you are. So just stop. And then you're no longer going to be a troll anymore. Just end the conversation, and nobody else would have. Nobody would have called you a troll, and nobody would have said anything else if you would have talked about some of the topics that we were bringing up. Brought up many, many topics, a lot of stuff we could have had discussions on, but you detracted from those discussions with something that we had already discussed before. So you basically wasted everybody's time in here, and that's what trolls do. Is they waste people's time that we could have been using to discuss victimless crimes, to discuss candidates in people's neighborhoods and stuff, to discuss reason why Trump sucks, or reason why Biden sucks, or reason why Joe Jorgensen is the best thing since sliced bread. We could have been discussing all of those things like that, but you chose to take the discussion back to somewhere where we had already been and discussed and moved on from. That's what makes you a troll. So just stop. If you don't want to be a troll, then just stop. You're not going to convince anybody else, and nobody's going to convince you, obviously. You come in here talking about shutting down people's businesses and stuff and all that stuff that we've already discussed before. We have people in here whose families are being hurt by these business shutdowns and stuff, and all you're doing is rubbing it in their faces like a troll would do. So just stop trolling, dude. And the only reason I'm having this conversation is because this is the only time. Saturday mornings is when I'll talk about anything. Whatever the community goes towards, I'll do my topics that I post in my description because that's what I owe. But towards the end of these things, I'll go wherever. But that's just the truth, man. So, but I love you, man. I'm just trying to help. Just trying to help. Oh, that's a banner. That's right. So here's all my info. Wow, I can put up two banners at the same time. Not anymore. Oh no, the ticker ones. So I can do one standard one and then one ticker one. So that's all my info. Cashapp, Twitter, like me on Twitter, Facebook. I need to put my Facebook up there too. Libertarian Dave, just like it is on YouTube, it is on Facebook. That's all I got. Facebook, Twitter, Twitch. I am Libertarian_Dave on Twitch. I appreciate I saw somebody came through on Twitch, Taco Guy. Appreciate you, man, for coming through. Taco Maniac. Make sure you give me a follow on Twitch. Trying to build a community there too. Thank you all so much for coming in, for all your conversations and input. Hey, Practical Man, I want to schedule you for the 24-hour stream. Also, got to get a good time on election day, so you can start talking about the freedom cells. So you can give your little spiel on freedom cells on my 24-hour podcast, man. So, but I'll get with you about that. Also about some local things that I got going on. Like next week, I want to do some stuff for Joe. Maybe we can get together and do some sign waving or something. So I love y'all. Remember to love your neighbor. Second most valuable thing that Jesus talks about. Love the Lord your God with all your heart and love your neighbor. So God bless you all. KIP. Keep it positive. Evolve never showed up. Lazy bum. I love y'all, man. Be good to each other. Peace.